Recording in progress. Okay.
Editing Lily here. It, in fact, was not recording in progress. Well, actually, this part of it was recording. Basically, with our Zoom, we have to do two separate recordings, and for some reason, the first recording, we have no visual. We have no video, we only have the audio. So, we're just going to do a shorter episode this week. We're going to do the second half. Basically, in this episode, we are talking about advice for our younger selves and kind of reflecting on who we were in high school and kind of so that's where we're getting into with that. Basically, we're setting the tone, setting the scene of what we're going to be talking about and kind of who we were in high school. And this next story is about Gracie finding her middle school diary, I believe it is. So yes, just stay tuned for the rest of the podcast. I think it'll be a fun episode.
This was so funny because Damon and I were just sitting downstairs and we read this entire diary
Another?
together and he thought it was the funniest thing ever. He was like crying. He was laughing so hard and it was iconic. And then we finished off the night reminiscing on my fifth grade self by listening to throwbacks on the TV downstairs and we were playing all of our favorite throwback songs. And but then the next day, so there's here's the second part, the second little story. Second day or the day after, we
Real
are
life or in fifth grade life?
in real life.
Okay.
Real life. Damon and I are sitting in the kitchen with my parents, telling them about the findings of this journal.
Of course.
Obviously, we had to debrief. They started laughing. They're like, "Oh, Gracie, like, why are we not surprised?"
Well,
And then my dad chimes in of, "Do you remember when you got sent to the principal's office for pinning that girl against the wall?" And I said, "Wait, why did I forget about that until you just now brought it up?" Hear me out. Hear me out. This girl, I'm in fifth grade. This
okay.
girl in my grade was bullying a third grade girl.
Oh,
I saw it. So I pinned her against the wall
good for you.
in the hallway. And then I got sent to the principal's office because they didn't know the context. And on paper,
Yeah.
I should have gotten in trouble because I still retaliated, but I didn't get in trouble. And my principal was like, just come find me next time.
Okay,
So,
honestly, I feel like that's a good way to respond to that because technically
yeah,
you were doing what you thought was right at the time.
yeah.
And so an adult recognizing that and teaching you how to change your behavior the next time so that you don't get
Mhm.
in trouble and that it's appropriate behavior, I think is honestly just a really good lesson for you.
Exactly. And yeah, I forgot about that until my dad was like, do you remember when you pinned that girl in your grade to the wall because she was bullying a younger girl? And I
This is
was like,
funny.
okay, wait, I forgot that happened. But now I'm remembering. Now the wheels are turning and I just unlocked a memory that I forgot about.
That's
So,
hilarious.
so
I
that's
love that for you.
that just kind of sums up fifth grade me, little me who I would be talking to and things that I would tell her. So I thought those stories were very funny and
That's
have been
really
a huge topic of discussion in my house over the weekend.
That's
So
so funny.
cheers.
So what advice would you give to her?
Honestly, I think I would just tell her to literally just keep being who you are. Like
Yeah.
I know that, but at such a young age, I already had such a strong sense of self
Yeah.
that I did all I said some crazy things. I did those crazy things. Everything behind it though always had really good intentions. And
Mhm.
I was just such a happy kid and I wanted everyone else. Now when I was really little, I was I was pulling kids' hair, but this was 3. But as I'm older and more mature, like me, I always was beating to the beat of my own drum. I really never cared what anybody thought. And I would literally just keep telling her, do that, do that.
Mhm.
Good things are going to happen from it. And you're going to be so happy with the strong sense of self that you keep building because then when people do try to throw you off course, you're not going to be affected by it. You're just going to keep going. So I think that's the main thing I would say to my younger self is literally just keep being you with your strong sense of self and even in parent teacher conferences though, I so many teachers would tell my parents she beats to a drum that like nobody else can hear, and she doesn't care. She doesn't care, and that's fine, and she's loving it. Which is so true. I think that's the best way to describe like me and like
Uh-huh.
giving her me. And yeah, I think I would literally just tell her that just like keep doing your thing, be kind, and then yeah, always keep other people in mind, be a good friend, be a good person, and stand up for yourself. That and like
Mhm.
other people. That's like huge. So,
Yeah,
what about
totally.
you? What about you thinking back to young Lily?
I don't know. I'm like, I was thinking about this today when we were texting back and forth about what we were gonna talk about.
Hmm.
I'm like, I more so thought like of high school me and less so of like middle school me.
Hmm.
And like for high school me, like I think that I chose the victim route a lot when it came to high school drama.
Hmm.
And I think that honestly, what would have made me more, I don't, like maybe it would have matured me more in the moment than me having to learn from my
Hmm.
mistakes now. Is
Hmm.
just that, like, and now I completely 100% believe this, but you know, like 15-year-old Lily was like, it's all happening to me and I'm not doing anything. And I
Yeah.
don't think I ever really had the mentality. Like, I could usually fess up to when I also had the issue, which I
Hmm.
think comes from like, I'm really appreciative with how my mom raised me because a lot of the times, like, if she would get angry with me or yell at me or like, you know, we would have a disagreement, she would then come back and be like, okay, I don't think I handled that well and I apologize. This is what I meant. Tell me how you feel. And so that's kind of how I was parented, you know, until the point where we both learned to just not explode at each other and just like from the
Yep.
beginning talk. So I,
Yep.
because I was parented that way, I feel like with my discourse with people in my life,
Hmm.
I knew I could usually apologize, I feel like. But I
Hmm.
think sometimes, especially like younger high school, I it felt like more of a hit to my pride. So
I feel that so much.
I think like especially what I've learned now is just like honestly, it kind of pisses people off more when you acknowledge what you did in the wrong. Basically, like, I just think I would go back and be like, whenever I would, you know, get in disagreements with my girlfriends and stuff like that, just like to look and be like, no, it takes two to tango. And I fully believe that now, you know, like, it does take two to tango. Like, if you guys are
Mhm.
going back and forth. So, like, I wish now, and I have gone back and apologized for certain things the moment
Mhm.
apologizing because like now I do that
Yeah.
whenever I know that like and I never try to do anything to hurt anybody's feelings. We know sometimes it happens. Sometimes you're in
Mhm.
the moment and it happens. And now I can like be like, whoa, I did not just mean to say that. Like, and then I
Mhm.
can stop myself like in the heat of the moment. And I wish that I could have done that when I was younger. But there was this time like in college, there was one girl that we had a big falling out to the point where we just stopped talking and stopped seeing each other.
Mhm.
And like I live in a decently small town, so like when we saw each other in person, we didn't even acknowledge each other kind of a thing. So like
Yeah.
it was such a falling out that there was never even a fight because we just
Yeah, I've had those
like
before.
we're done. Yeah.
Yep.
So in college, I think this is kind of where I learned that lesson where you're not always the victim because I was kind of like, okay, well, you did this, you did this, you did this. And then I finally took a step back and I was like, okay, well, I also did things in our relationship that were not, you
Mhm.
know, like it takes two to tango. There's
Yeah.
two people, there's a reason that this relationship fell apart. I went back and I texted her. I sent a big long text. I was blocked and everything. Honestly, I didn't know if I was blocked on text or not. So I texted her and I apologized for my side. So yeah, so I think just like not always playing the role of like there was Mean Girls in high school 100%, but I did
Mhm.
have them there. There was one time in eighth grade where all the girls threw a party on my birthday and just me and my best friend weren't invited. And the girl literally lived down the street. They were sending us Snapchats, they were sending us like everything about they were together. And my best friend, her mom was so sweet. Her mom like picked us up and like brought us to TJ Maxx. We went to like we made the rounds, we went to Target. It was so sweet. She like
That's
totally like
cute.
boosted the mood. But then
Yeah.
the next day at lunch, like I think my birthday was like on a Friday or Saturday, so on Monday,
Hmm.
they were all talking about this like, and you know, it was eighth grade, a party that
Yeah.
they all had
The
together.
party.
Yeah, and I was like, I was sitting next to my best friend, and my best friend didn't really like to get in the middle of any discourse or anything like that. She kind of just like just didn't say
Yeah.
much when it came to
Yeah.
being left out, whereas like I wasn't as okay with it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I had so much fun at that party. Thank you guys so much for inviting me. Like it was just such a blast. And I
Yes.
got up and I left and I was like, I was like, oh,
As
all
you
right.
should.
Maybe I like shouldn't have. Maybe I should have handled that a little bit more mature.
Here's
So
the
yeah,
thing, though, it's like I think that that's just like all part of it because now as adults we can't act like that, so we can laugh about the fact that we said something like that
yeah,
as a child because we were children. Like I
yeah.
definitely have like no, yeah, you're fine. That's so I love it. I love it. I have like different pieces of advice I would give to myself in like different stages of growing up. Like elementary school advice would be different from like middle school advice. Middle school would be different from high school. I relate a lot to what you said about high school, and I think I would tell myself not to react to those
Yeah,
people who would try to get under my skin or because I definitely did react and I definitely would say and do some things that I like shouldn't have.
100%. And
But
that's where then it takes out of your character. Whereas you could
yeah.
have just been the victim if you were like, okay, like that's your opinion
Mhm.
of me instead of taking it out on them.
Yeah. And which I think is crazy because even though I would feel like, okay, that's your opinion, I don't care, I would always kind of be like, oh, well, I'm gonna show you. Like,
Yeah,
here's what I'm gonna say back that's gonna rattle you more, even if what they said or did didn't like rattle me and I was
yeah,
secure with like the thing they were trying to come after. I was
literally.
still like, oh no, diva moment, like here we go. Here we go. So that's definitely, but like middle school me. I feel like I would tell middle school me like I was so like boy crazy in like elementary school and middle school. I would just like stop worrying about the boys. These boys like you're a child. Stop worrying about these boys. Have fun with your girlfriends. Like
Yeah.
elementary school too, thinking back to more advice at 7 was when I really started struggling with like OCD and being just like so anxious and scared. I feel like I would literally just give myself a big hug and be like,
Hmm.
you're gonna be okay. This is gonna be something you're gonna deal with, but you're not always gonna feel this sense of like impending doom.
Hmm.
And I was so scary as a kid though, because I'm having, for the first time ever, all these anxious thoughts, feelings, like felt like I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
7. And I was like, how do I handle this? And like started therapy and it was so great. But I feel like I would literally just tell like that version of me, you're gonna be okay. You're not always gonna feel like this, and you're gonna like work through it because it felt like impossible.
100%. I
Yeah,
totally agree with you.
I think it's kind of like fun too to think back of what I would tell elementary school me versus middle school me versus high school me because it's literally just like phases of
Yeah.
like three totally different people. And it's like, what would I tell her? What I think elementary school was all about like keep owning who you are, overcoming, those obstacles that started. Middle school was just like confidence dropped. So it was
Hmm.
like, be confident in yourself. Don't let other people get to you. Keep going, keep plugging along, hang out with the people who make you feel good, do what you love. And then high school was literally just like take a step back, reflect on your actions, don't react, would kind of be what I would say. Yeah.
100%.
It's crazy though. It's crazy how much, because what, elementary school is like 5, 6 years.
Oh
And
my gosh.
huh.
Yes, yours. I'm so sorry. This just came to mind.
What?
My boyfriend's younger sister goes to a neighboring school to where we went to school. And so basically, so I went to her basketball game last night.
Yeah.
And okay, so my boyfriend is like, I would say he was like reasonably popular in high school.
Mhm.
I was known, but definitely not popular. And,
Yeah, Dave into a T, but continue.
and so like I also we're in a small town, so like at my school, everybody's siblings went there. Honestly, people's parents went there. A lot of the teachers went there. Like it's that kind of
Mhm.
place. And none of my siblings went there because they're so much older than me.
Mhm.
And one of my other siblings went to a public school near us, and this was at a private school. And
Mhm.
so none of the teachers knew me, knew my history, which was kind of its own issue in itself. And
Mhm.
so we ran into a teacher last night, and I was with my boyfriend's parents.
Yeah.
we were talking, it was our Spanish teacher, and we were talking about Spanish, and I was like, we were talking about a teacher that used to be there, and I was like, oh, is she not there anymore? And he was
Mhm.
like, no, she hasn't been there for like 8 or 9 years. And I was like, no, that's not possible because I had her.
Yeah.
But it was sixth grade, which would have been the 8 or 9 years ago. So I was like, I'm old. I was like, no, that's not possible. Like I had her. It's not possible that she was only there 8 or 9 years ago. Isn't that horrible? I was like,
That's
I was literally so taken back. And then this teacher goes, because after I'm like, no, like, because I had her. And then like my boyfriend's mom looks at me and she's like, sweetie, you are almost 21. And I was like, yes, like you're right. And so then the teacher goes, um, who are you?
no. No.
Okay, keep in mind, I go to a small school. I had 50 kids in my 60 kids in my class. Like everybody knows everybody, but this was a Spanish teacher and I took French. But he was like, who are you? And then I was like, oh, I'm dating blah blah blah. And he was like, oh, and I was like, the
Oh,
whole conversation, I was like so embarrassed.
that's okay. Well, I realized too after you said that, like, I graduated high school 4 years ago.
Yeah, I graduated high
Like,
school 3 years.
this 2020 was 5 years ago.
I know.
I don't like that.
So we had our
However,
middle school teachers 8 or 9 years ago.
that's
Isn't that
insane.
so insane? I was like so confident too. I was like, no, 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 because I had her.
Spanish teacher, my Spanish teacher and my like
He humbled me
history
real quick.
teacher, my favorite teachers ever in
Really?
high school. It was when I was at the I guess I only went to one private high school. It was when I went to the private high school that I was at, the like hockey academy.
Uh-huh.
Not gonna name drop it. Where I met Damon. Anywho,
Aw.
um, but it's when I was there and my teachers, those are the best teachers I've ever had. Hated the school, but those were like my teachers really kept me in the game, like kept
Okay.
me sane because they saw it was a school of the high school was like 80 kids for the whole high school, less than. And my grade was 20 kids. I was one of three girls in my grade, and they saw everything that went on, and they would always like write me little notes. Like they could tell when someone was like being rude or being mean, or there was drama or
Yeah.
whatever, or just having a bad day. Like when it's a school that small, they saw everything.
Yeah.
And especially like, my history teacher, she also wrote me the best college recommendation letter ever. Um,
Aw.
but she would like write me notes and be like, today's a new day, like you've got this, like and like slide me little notes or like my Spanish teacher, that man. Love that man. He
Really?
so nice, so sweet, like just genuinely cared about all of us, which just
Aw.
with everything else that was going on, literally made high school so much better. Like
Oh, that's
I
really
love
great
my
to
teachers.
hear.
I love them. I still message some of them. I still message my
Aw.
English teacher and then my old history teacher and Damon and I are trying to find our Spanish teacher on Facebook. So, so we can
Aw.
find him. But yeah, no, they were like the best people. They made high school like good. They made high school like bearable. Like I was like excited to go to school and yeah.
That's
But
cute. I only liked my librarian and the secretary.
I got really good with good teachers throughout my whole experience of school.
Once I started dating my boyfriend, I did get more popular with the teachers.
That's hilarious.
What we learned actually, because so I got dress coded quite often, which
Oh,
it's like,
you.
well, yeah, no, it's actually a really funny story. Like they had like a string for like how long your skirt could be, and you had to like measure your femur and like then whatever. So I went in and I had the dean of students measure my string for me because like I knew I would get dress coded because I
Yeah,
am tall. So like
you're
no matter
tall.
what length of skirt that I wear, if it's above my knee, it looks short. I got dress coded all the time, and like a lot of the times it was like really stupid. Not all the time. Like I was totally out of dress code, like 100%. One of the teachers that apparently I never had her. She was a middle school teacher because our middle school and our high school were in the same building. I never
Okay.
had her. I honestly don't really remember her name. And
Hmm.
but my boyfriend was her TA, I guess.
Okay.
And apparently, she was the one that was sending me in for the dress codes because,
Stop.
and then she was talking to my boyfriend's mom, and she was like, "Oh yeah, blah, blah, he's dating blah blah blah," and she goes, she admitted to my boyfriend's mom that she was the one that was dress coding. Funny. And then she stopped dress coding me after she found out we were dating. I thought
Um,
that was hilarious. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And then, okay, last thing about the dress code. Last thing about the dress code.
it's
I
okay. I
was
had one on
wearing
dress code after this. Continue.
I was wearing a polo and it had a zipper or whatever. And
Yeah.
I got dress coded for it being too low. And I walked in because my mom was at the point where she was like, if you get dress coded for another thing, because
Hmm.
at the beginning I was totally getting dress coded for things I should have been dress coded for. But
Yeah.
then I was getting dress coded so often that it could go on my permanent record. So I like stopped wearing that stuff. So I started wearing stuff that I didn't think I would actually get dress coded for. Like I was actually like putting in an effort to not get dress coded.
Yeah.
And so my mom was like at the edge of her seat after the skirt thing happened.
Hmm.
So I get the email to come see the dean of students, which always means you're about to get dress coded. And so I text my mom. And even also, I was in religion when I got this email, and even my religion teacher was like, "Why are you getting dress coded right now?" And I was like, "I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I
What?
go to the dean of students?" And she was like, "Yeah, whatever." She dress codes me, and I start laughing because my mom was like, "If she dress codes you, leave, and I'm calling the school." So I'm like, the receptionist that I was like best friends with, my mom calls, and the receptionist is like, you want to talk to the dean of students? And because she was like in on all the tea when I was so pissed.
Yeah.
Whatever, blah, blah, blah. So we go back and forth, whatever. They told me that my shirt was too low.
What?
After my mom called, it was like she should not be getting dress coded for this right now. The
Yeah.
dean of students pulls me out of class and we have a discussion or whatever. She tells me who dress coded me. I didn't even have them as a teacher. That's the story about dress codes.
My little experience with dress code. Um, so I had like standard, like traditional private school uniforms in middle school.
Okay.
We had and we weren't allowed to wear skirts because the years before that ruined that for the girls because they'd, hike them on up. Um, but we had like polar khaki shorts and polo tops. But then in high school, even though it was a private hockey school, we didn't have like standard uniforms. We just had to wear clothes with the school's logo on it. So if we
Okay.
had a hoodie or a shirt or whatever, we could wear
Gotcha.
whatever bottoms we wanted, but our top pretty much had to just be the school logo and apparel. And the girls were, myself included, not even thinking about it because we would skate first thing in the morning, work out, and then come into school. So we're wearing like, leggings, sweatpants, most of the time, shorts. And there were definitely times that my shorts were like too short and they wouldn't officially dress code us. Some girls, they were like, go change. Like, just go change.
Really?
Put something on over. Yeah. And that never happened to me, but it probably like should have. Not that I was wearing anything inappropriate at all,
Uh-huh.
but like my Lulu shorts that I was wearing
Yeah, the
were
little
like
hottie hots.
the hottie hots. Nothing
Oh,
was,
if I wore that to school, I would be taken out in an
I'd
ambulance.
wear hottie hots. I'd wear the hottie hot shorts.
To
And
school?
yeah, like nothing's showing. Like
No,
nothing,
but like still, like it
but
would
like
I would be dress coded
they
110%.
were like short. And there's like a couple times my principal had like said something to me about it, but she was just like, those shorts, but she wouldn't like tell me to change or anything, and I didn't cause any problems. Like it was like fine. Also, fun thing I want to add in. So my 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 I had an experience like that you were talking to of like running into somebody from in public or
Huh?
seeing them or something like that. And I'm not gonna say what their position of authority was, but I ran into somebody who used to be like involved in my school and was one of like the higher ups and said hi to the, people that, this person was with. Looked at this person to was about to say hi, made no eye contact, kept walking, didn't even look at me. And I was like, okay. Like, good to see you too. I hope you're doing well. But like, and this person was someone who saw me every single day. Might have not been this person's favorite. My parents might not have been this person's favorite. This, it's fine. Like
Is
there
it
was
who I think it is?
yeah, there was no bad, like necessarily bad blood that happened here.
But there wasn't necessarily like good blood.
There wasn't necessarily good blood. It was like a mutual, it was
Yeah.
like
But like
and
you would have said hi.
yeah, like I was gonna say hi. And then I was like, oh, RIP fam. Hope you're
That's
doing so good.
hilarious.
Yeah, no, not a word, not a look, not a word was exchanged. And I was just like, and
Oh,
that's why I left. And
God.
that's why I transferred.
And that's why I was out of here.
I know, high school is high school is crazy. We'll get more into high school too in
100%.
like
Yeah.
one of these episodes because I could talk about that for once again, each year of high school was like a totally different person.
100%,
I
especially
was.
with COVID right in the middle too.
Yeah. Like, well, COVID was my senior year, which was really, well, junior
Wow.
and senior year, which really just like kind of messed things up. So,
Yeah.
but no, we'll dive into to
We'll
the
dive into that in the
high
future.
school more. Yeah. Well, that was so much fun, and it's just always fun to chit chat and then, talk about our younger selves
Yeah.
and our mountains and valleys and our little weekly updates. Hopefully, I don't step on another nail this week.
Yeah, I hope
Um,
not.
so yeah, we're gonna hope for the best there. But this was so much fun. We're gonna come back next week, next Thursday. Stay tuned for the next one. And
8
yeah,
a.m.
8 a.m. next Thursday, new video. But Lily, thank you so much for chit-chatting with
Thank
me.
you. I'm so glad we got to do this episode. I know we've been wanting to.
I know this was so much fun, and thank you guys so much for watching, listening, whether you're on YouTube or Apple Podcasts. You can stream this on both of those, and we're so excited to see you next week. So thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Mwah.